Shalom everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, brought to you by these guys, Lay of the Land. This is where you guys join me every Monday to Thursday to take a look at those top stories making the headlines in Israel. And as always, we welcome a variety of opinions and comments. I just ask you that to keep it polite. You may have differing opinions, you may have differing political opinions to what we broadcast, but we do draw the line at hate comments, and all hate speech will be blocked and reported. Just a reminder, it is Wednesday, which means tomorrow on Thursday, I bring you the mentions and the morons of the week. So please get those nominations through to me as soon as possible. And as always, we love to take your audience question, and no question is a silly question, so please don't think that your question is. We'll take anybody's question. We're here to open up those conversations. So with that said, a reminder, it is day 649 since the 7th of October, since the atrocities of the 7th of October. Tomorrow we will mark 650 days. Now there are still 50 hostages held in captivity. 50 hostages still in captivity for 649 days, and we have heard nothing from the international community. One of those hostages is the last female hostages, and one of the male hostages has been held captive, or his remains have been held captive for over 4,000 days. His name is Hadar Golden. Now behind every hostage is a universe, is a family suffering unbelievable anguish. It is a whole world. We do not want the world to forget our hostages, and we want them all back now. Now our first story takes us to Syria. It is very, very distressing. And on behalf of all of us at the Israel Brief and Lay of the Land, we stand firmly with our Druze, Alawite and Christian brothers and sisters in Syria. The scenes coming in from Syria are absolutely horrific. Naturally, the mainstream media are not covering anything except for the fact that Israel is striking military targets inside the country. So let's take a look at what is happening. The IDF and Israeli Air Force are continuing to strike military targets belonging to the Syrian regime. This follows yet another day of horrific massacres of Druze, of Syrian Druze, who we consider our brothers in the south of the country. Now, a short while ago, the IDF reported to hit military headquarters belonging to the Syrian regime. Reuters is reporting that the IDF have attacked the presidential palace, and we do have reports coming in from Defense Minister Katz saying that heavy blows have been struck. Now, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, in a statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs earlier today, said that the comments by Syrian President al-Julani, he a former member of Al-Qaeda, are laughable. Al-Julani said that he would crack down on those responsible for committing atrocities against the Syrian Druze. Sa'ar went on to say that weeks ago it was hundreds of Alawites who were massacred. There have been a significant amount of Christian churches in Syria burnt as recent as this week, and now it is the Syrian Druze who are under attack. Prime Minister Netanyahu has appealed to Israeli Druze please not to breach the border, and those who have breached the border earlier today, please to return home. There were scenes of chaos earlier today when hundreds of Israeli Druze, frantic to help their brothers and defend their brothers and sisters in Syria, breached the border, and many of them are still in Syria. The IDF is working to return them. Prime Minister Netanyahu said, please Our brothers and sisters from the Druze communities, please do not breach the borders. You run the risk of being murdered by regime members or being held hostage. Please let the IDF, the Israeli Air Force, and other forces do their job. Some of the scenes coming in from Syria are profoundly, profoundly distressing. We know that people are being summarily executed. Some of the women have been taken as sex slaves and have been raped in scenes horrifically reminiscent of the 7th of October here. But one caught on camera is particularly painful. An 80-year-old Syrian man was taken by Syrian regime forces, his beard and his moustache shaven off, and he was filmed having this done to him, which is extremely humiliating. The Druze are a peaceful people. They are not Muslim. Druze is their religion. They are very, very loyal to the countries where they live. And to see these scenes, to me, took me right back to scenes from the Holocaust, where rabbis were jeered at and humiliated by Nazi officers who shaved off their beards and their peyot and humiliated them before they murdered them. The 80-year-old man who was filmed on camera and who was kidnapped later died. Where is the world? Where are the campus encampments? Where are the marches in the streets? Where is the BBC and Sky News who are fixated on Israel? Where are the human rights NGOs? Where is the United Nations with their resolutions? Where is the ICJ, the ICC, all the human rights activists? Where are the Hollywood celebrities? I guess when Israel is not involved in any way, or Jews cannot be blamed, the world is silent. It is a stain on humanity to see this happening again and to see the silence of the world. It is absolutely appalling. When we talk about genocide, which is a legal term, this constitutes genocide. The intention to ethnically cleanse a specific community or ethnicity or religion, that is genocide. War is not genocide, but that is genocide. And a shame on the world for their silence, because they cannot blame Israel and they cannot take their temper and their latent anti-Semitism out on Jews around the world. In other news, the Iranian Ayatollah al-Khamenei has gone on yet another genocidal rant, calling Israel a cancerous growth and the United States complicit. Ayatollah Khamenei said that Tehran, if attacked, will carry out attacks more bigger and more greater than what we're seeing in the Israeli-Iran war. He also accused of Israel for starting a war with the intention to overthrow the regime. Israel has repeatedly said and demonstrated quite capably our targets were military and nuclear targets, and that what happens internally in Iran is up to the people of Iran. Should there be a regime change, this is up to the people of Iran. A senior Hamas official has denied that there are progress in talks to reach a ceasefire and free hostages. The official was speaking to AFP, which is the Agence Free Press, earlier today. Meanwhile, an Israeli negotiating team is in Cairo at the moment, participating in the negotiations. An Israeli official said earlier this week that it will take a week or two for there to be a ceasefire reached. And finally, EU ministers voted down proposed sanctions against the state of Israel. I think they were put forward by Spain and Slovakia, and I think it was Ireland, to impose sanctions on the state of Israel. Israel sees this as a diplomatic victory and entered into an agreement with Brussels to increase the amount of humanitarian aid going into the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the American ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, has weighed in on Ireland's proposed legislation to make the purchase of goods from Judea and Samaria unlawful. He said, "Has Ireland fallen into a barrel of Guinness?" His sentiments were echoed by Senator Lindsey Graham, who said that this legislation will not be well received in the United States and action against the Irish government will be taken. So those are our top stories. Let's take a look at the audience question of the day, and it comes from Pat Newman, who says, how can Israel continue to remind the world about Hamas and its broader terror network? Well, that is excellent, and this is something where we're calling on everybody to help us do this. Israel is trying to remind the world again and again and again on a daily basis that we are fighting a terror entity that committed acts of barbarity against our people and foreign nationals on the 7th of October, and who have sworn to do it again and again and again and again. And the world has forgotten about that. The world has forgotten about the atrocities perpetrated by Hamas, and we are appealing to you guys to be our voices out there, because we are just the front line. What starts with us does not end with us, and you don't want Hamas on the streets of your country. So wherever you can, whether it's forwarding an email, sharing on social media, speaking to a friend, or even sharing this Israel brief, please continue to remind the world exactly how this war started and who we are dealing with. And guys, that brings me to the end of today's broadcast. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. Remember, if you like our content, please click on that red subscribe button. We are on Facebook at Lottel's site, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, and on X at Lay of the Land 5. Guys, God bless you all, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.